In business, I always tell our business owner that it's a lonely game and you're on your own. And sometimes you can't even share your worries with the people who work with you because you're worried about them, worried about the business. So when we said that, we knew where you come from. We know what the business owners are all about. So in this particular time, we want to save your energy and give you the understanding you should have about R&D. On Saturday, we did a webinar already, and that is R&D and the tax credit, tax deduction. And remember, in this whole R&D world, you first need to know what is your expenses, right? You know you're spend this much money on salary, this much money on material, this much money on the scientists, contractor, researchers. So all of these R&D, research and development money you spend, and you put them together, and for year of 2023, and you will look to make that a tax credit for yourself. So in this whole thing, because of the 2022 Job Act, President Trump's change. So he did a Job Act, but he put in a timer on the tax deductions, which means that your R&D expense can be expensed out before 2022, but starting from 2022, and the President Trump's rules is to say, no, 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 you cannot deduct that anymore. You need to amortize it, depreciate that over 5 years. So you only can deduct how much, ladies and gentlemen? That is 20% of your total expense. So you will have a higher taxable income if you made money, right? Because you can, instead of deducting $100,000 for the R&D expense, you only can deduct 200,000. You only can deduct 20,000. So that part we understood. So after 2022, it is changed. You cannot deduct R&D expenses 100% anymore. Now, the R&D tax credit, that is added benefit, okay? That is in addition to your depreciation requirement, and you can claim credit. And what kind of form do you use to claim? And when do you claim that under income tax credit? When do you claim that under payroll tax credit? So those are the things we're going to tackle today in this 30 minutes, and to give you a understanding how you go about doing the claim. Now, before I dive into that deeper, I do want to share a screen with you. You are here. You're looking at my screen, which has our website, communitycpa.com. This is where you should come and to engage us for specific questions. After you hear me talking about R&D, you may say that, Ying, I'm getting even more confused. So I want to ask you more questions. That is not my goal. Honestly, I actually wanting our YouTube channel to be a do-it-yourself tool place. So you come in here, you search, and you learn. And it didn't meant to generate more question for you, but if you really want to rely on our talk to do serious stuff out there, you may as well just engage us. So here, you come to the appointment button, and you have all the partners here. You can choose any one of us, and we will come online and to talk to you. And some of the partners has a free consultation, 30 minutes. And for myself and all of my time, you would have to book and you would have to spend, but I knew you will never spend any penny with me that is wasted. I know that you will get tenfold, hundredfold, thousandfolds back if you are working with us closely. And of course, on our website, you also notice that we have client portals, and we also have a pay invoice button. We have onboard button. This onboarding button is just where you can do silent onboarding if you're so busy, don't have time to call us, say, hey, congratulations, you earned my trust. I am your client. If you just don't have time to do that, you just come to onboarding button right here and register yourself in, and we will receive it on our end. We will congratulate you and confetti for you, and so all of these cool stuff, right? So I want you to know how our website works. This is YouTube channel that we are very famous of, and here we have a lot of videos already, and you can search our video. See, that's a Saturday R&D tax credit that you can watch, and you can review what I talked about. And if you want to nail me for things I say it wrong, congratulations, because you need to have that attitude to learn. So I am definitely not 100% correct at all time, but I do my due diligence, so the knowledge I deliver to you is pretty solid. Now, let's go into the into a couple of forms right here. I want to show you before I dive into the PowerPoint, which I want to lead you to the conversation. And in our PowerPoint, we're going to be talking about form 6765. This is the form. You know, when I say R&D tax deduction, that is on your tax form, page 1 and 2, where you do the sales, the deduction, the expenses, and then depreciation, right? That's one piece. But when you claim tax credit for R&D, this is the form. This is where you start, but this is not where you end. So you start with 6765, claim it, calculate it, knows what is your this year's credit. Then if you decided to bring the credit over to your income tax return, then this 6765 is part of your income tax return. However, if you decided that is not your income because you have a loss, you have nothing to offset your credit, then you can come over to claim 8974 with your 941. So I pull out these forms because I just want you to register what I'm talking about. 941 for 2024, then you can see this is 8974. This is what correcting whatever you filed. You see how this form comes in as a quarter 1, 2, 3, 4, and I put in one right here as example. We will come back to here, but right now, let me go through the PowerPoint with you really quickly so we know that where we are going into. So in this PowerPoint, and I built on top of yesterday's PowerPoint. So that's a payroll tax credit. Today, that's what we were talking about. So I'm going to skip our firm information. This is the book I wrote, 2 books. So you can buy them from Amazon. And the no responsibility disclaimer, I absolutely need to stop here and have you understand. This is a free webinar, and there's no responsibility unless you engage us for detailed service. So this is what I have already talked about just this last few minutes. I talked about the difference between tax deduction and tax credit. Tax deduction, it goes onto your income statement. It becomes a reducing factor to your total income, right? Tax credit is based on these expenses, calculate a number. So I do have an example for you, so you will see how we calculate. And then on here, and we were just talking about before 2022, the expense is 100% deducted. You can claim credit, but you can also reduce your expense. But after 2022, with the timeline set by President Trump, when he did the Job Act, and so starting from January the 1st, 2022, you can no longer deduct R&D 100%. So you have to capitalize it and making a 5-year term, making a 5-year deduction, 20% each year, okay? Tax credit is a additional benefit, did not change. Tax credit for R&D has always been the same, did not change. Just how to treat that expense got changed. But in 2023, so this is the tax form, tax credit claim form, which didn't change, form 6765. And my last webinars, and I actually showed these one. This is the calculation that what we do. And then again, this is the form I showed you on the website. And this is another webinar I have that I already talked about, understand R&D tax credit. I made a calculation based on 2022 tax deduction change to show the company that are you really making it or you don't. If you do not, if you capitalize your research R&D expense. And let's just move along. So this is what changed in 22. And in 2023, this is where I want to pause. So 2022, they followed Job Act and made tax deduction different, right? So in 2022, you capitalize your R&D. And in 2023, President Biden come in and said that, oh, you know what? Remember that R&D tax credit itself didn't change? Oh, I want to change that. I want to make the benefit bigger. So what he did is he said that if you claim the tax credit via your payroll tax, as long as you are a qualified small business, and we would allow you to claim up to 500,000, not a quarter of a million anymore, and we double it, and 250,000 from Social Security Medicare, the other 250,000 from Medicare. So from half of it from Social Security, the other half from Medicare. So he doubled the credit up to 500,000. Trust me, I have not had any of my client was able to even come up with a number like 500,000. Those are really for big business. You can imagine that the employer portion of Social Security Medicare, that's not a lot. It's about 9%. So only that 9%, whatever you calculate, equals to the five for the quarter of a million or 500,000. So you really, we're not looking at a huge dollars when you are a small potatoes. But I still need you to understand, because how do you know that you are not going to become a big potatoes one day and this R&D tax credit don't go away? They are here for you. Okay. All right. So the R&D payroll tax credit election in 2023, we are in the time to work on 2023. That's why I wanted to be here so eagerly to show you what you need to know. So in 2023, when you prepare your 2023 tax return, and your client, if they did R&D activities, and they will give you a list of R&D expense that maybe include salaries, include materials, contract labors. So added together, let's say we added for $500,000. So that's their expense. So in 2023, if they decided to do a R&D credit claim, that expense they use, they cannot run them through expense anymore. Only 1/5 of it, 20%, can go into expense. So then once that is done, then you calculate credit. And in this credit, and you want to say, oh, I want to do payroll tax credit claim because I didn't even have, I have a big loss. I don't care I deduct 1/5 of my expense or 100% my expense. It's still a loss. Is a loss a little less or a loss a little more? And if you're in that boat in 2023, you're such a great candidate to get your payroll tax credit, R&D payroll tax credit claim. Okay, to claim that credit, like I mentioned to you, President Biden said, you must be qualified small business. So what is qualified small business? Am I a qualified small business? I don't know. Let's see what that is. A qualified small business is an eligible entity or person with less than 5 million in gross receipts. What is gross receipts? Those are the income you receive, right? The deposit you have in your bank. And not or, and no more than 5 years of generating gross receipts, including the current year. No more than 5 years. So what if in the very beginning you're just research, but you did not have any gross receipt? It says that no more than 5 years. So I guess you count your gross receipt years As long as you have gross receipt, you cannot be the 6th year, and you will not qualify to be this qualified small business. Only qualified small business can go for the R&D payroll tax credit. And you can still go for R&D tax credit on your income tax side, but you cannot qualify for the payroll tax credit. Make sense? All right, so we got the definition squared away. And now let's look at the payroll tax. So R&D payroll tax credit. And this is what that is 500,000 we're looking at. The R&D payroll tax credit election provides a offset of 25,000 in Social Security and additional 25,000 in Medicare for the current year. So it's in 1 year. So it's every year, and you can do that. So in that particular year, the maximum is 500,000. This credit can be especially beneficial for companies with substantial R&D expense and little to no income tax. You hear that? Especially beneficial. Company with eligible R&D cost can qualify for federal credit to offset payroll tax by up to 10% of their total R&D expenses. So regardless of the amount, your R&D expenses is 1 million, 10%, up to 10%. That's 100,000, right? So regardless of amount, of course, you cannot go over 500,000 a year, but 10%. And this can be a great incentive for business that invest heavily in research and development, and the potential credit benefit increase for the qualified small business with 500,000 in payroll expenses per quarter is illustrated in the chart and source in the chart I show you right here. Now, folks, and you know that to have R&D tax credit claim, and you go for 2 steps, right? You look at your first, you're going to claim a credit, and then you're going to make an election, then you're going to fill up another form. So let me show you. I'm going to stop share right now for the slides. And going back to my website to show you the form that I filled out that will lay out the step for you very clearly. So let me go to pull up my PowerPoint. I need to end the slideshow so you can see the screen. So now I'm sharing the screen again. Now let's look at 6765. This is the chart I want to show you. And when you do the credit claim, remember this one goes with your income tax. Your 2023 income tax is due for 1120S is due on March 15. So that 6765 need to be included. With that, let's look at the number I just, it's a fake number. I just want to show you what that means. So I'm using the regular credit section A. I did not select to go for alternative simplified credit. The alternative simplified credit is okay too, but you just have to go back to 3 years to get some basic data. But I know in 2023 how much I spent on R&D. So I spent 500,000 on salary and 550,000 on cost of supplies. Then I also rent some machinery for 10,000. So my total expense is 56,000. Now, and I calculated back. So the credit, if you look at the line 17, and this is the credit that listed here for me. So 56,000, that is the credit I am going to get. But remember, your 560,000 is your total expense. That expense cannot be deducted out of your income like that. You have to divide this by 5, only be able to put away and 1/5 of it as your expense. The other one, where did it go? The other one goes to your balance sheet as your R&D capitalized expense. So waiting to expense every year out of there until it's done, right? So if you look at the second page, so this second page gives me current year credit. So my current year credit is 56,000. And when you use that in your tax software, it really did calculate that for you. So you don't need to waste your brain cell. You can just make sure that you know this is the form you're gonna use, and you know these are the number you're gonna put in. I did not put in any other number. The only three number I put in is a line 5, 6, and 7. When I did that, it just calculated for me. Why do I need to worry about what do they calculate? They were just using the simple method. It's a 10% of all the R&D expense. So here, I came over here. I selected, this is the election I was talking about. That you need to do election for your R&D credit to be a payroll tax credit. That election, you do it right here. You select. You qualify to be SB, qualified small business, right? You qualified small business you choose, and then you enter what you are going to get from the credit. It is calculated from your expense. It is a credit that you either offset your income tax or you offset your payroll taxes, and you select that to offset your payroll tax. Then you come over to 8974. Look at this qualified small business payroll tax credit for increasing research activity. And this is the one that the form you need to go together with your 941. And on here, and this is what you put in. You put in your 2023. This is look at the part 1. Tell us about your income tax return. You see, it is actually wanting to know what you got on your tax return. So you're going to put it in here. And your end of the day income tax period, December 31st, 2023, and the tax form 1120S, and the date tax return was filed March 15, 2024. Yeah, in number, and what was the amount? The amount from form 6765, line 44, or if applicable, the amount that was allocated to your EIN. So don't bother with the if, just go get the number. That's a 56,000, right? So you got that 56,000 from line 44. So where is your line 44, ladies, gentlemen? Is right here, 56,000. So I got that. And then it says amount of credit from column E, taking on a previous period. It says that, do you apply anything before, or this is the net we need to do. So taking from private period, I didn't take anything. So this is my net, and I got the final, right? Then your part 2, that is where the machine, the form, will help you to split. Okay, you got 56,000. So they want to split that for you. Which part is Social Security? Which part is Medicare? So you split them for them. And so they would come and to have the total credit laid out here for you. You basically split. Part of it is to Social Security and a part of it is to Medicare. I just made up this number, okay? So, but I want you to see how the form does for you. Of course, you need to know your 941 because these number, the taxable Social Security wages, that column 2 are the one that you can get money back because they only refund you the employee portion of the match. It's not like you can just take every tax dollars and get it back. Does that make sense? So this is the chart, this is the table I want to show you, and so you know that how to go about claiming it, what form you're going to use. So if you only have one takeaway from me and you want to know that your 6765 form, and that one, it is really the long-lasting, existed forever R&D credit form. It didn't change, okay? However, the treatment to the expense got changed. That's your accountant's job, right? And then if you want to claim your credit instead of in the income tax arena, you want to go to your payroll, then you need a Form 8974. So you just need to remember those ones. And with that said, I want to, further talk about the benefit and drawback. I'll tell you that for the payroll side of the credit, the benefit is that you don't have to owe income tax to get that credit. You actually can save your Social Security Medicare kind of tax. It is refunded to you, so you literally getting the cash in and you don't have to pay it back, right? That's just benefit. And it's year after year benefit. Literally you can have that every year. That and the other benefit we have over here, it is just that with the income tax credit, you can carry that credit to future years. So later when you pay income taxes is offsetting that for 20 years, right? Nothing to worry. But for payroll, it's an immediate cash flow. So you can do cash flow side of calculation, knowing how much it would help you. And with the drawback, though, on the payroll taxes is also very big. I would tell you that, when you not paying payroll taxes that timely, it is payroll tax is a trust fund, right? So that could trigger so much penalty. And if, let's say, you submitted payroll tax credit, but it was rejected, the IRS goes, nope, don't want this. When you apply for R&D tax credit, there's no appeal. And if your IRS officer decided to not give you, you're done. And you better find a way to answer to your clients why it was not going through. So the position papers, the supporting document is so important. And I can emphasize how big of a deal that is, because if you don't have that done and you are literally at loss, you will just be surprised, how come it didn't go through. Then your client gonna end up paying all these penalty. Are you gonna pay it for them, right? So it is a very serious matter, and you want to make sure that it is done professionally, it is done surely. If there's any risk to it, I would not so eager to submit. But of course, you have a timeline, and April 15 is the due date for filing amendment for 2020. And if you are going to file your payroll tax credit, and the due date is the first quarter of 2024. So you have a lot to do. So I want to leave this one with you. And so you know the benefit, the drawback of using R&D payroll tax credit. And you also know it's such a thing that is available to you, and you can definitely utilize it. And I hope this short talk give you a little bit more information on the payroll side, right? And if you have any other questions related to it, get yourself filed, get yourself prepared, then come on for a session to consult with us on your documentation to see whether that will really meet the requirement, and it will get you through the approval when you submit, right? I wish you success, and I always looking out for you to find the tax credit, the benefit that would help you to grow your business. And growing your business is not just your goal, it's also our goal as well. We want our folks to be so proud of what they're doing and having all the tool that's available to the big shots, and to use that for your small business. So let's make sure that President Biden's purpose of giving this $500,000 is to qualify the small business. And I am curious to know how many qualified small business actually really got on it, because the credit application itself is very involving. So it takes professional to help. And I hope that you look into that and knocking out doors when you need to. And we will be seeing you soon.